This car has been a great, different experience for me, coming from Mitsubishi's to work on, but I am ready to get it back together and get it out of this garage so I can start getting going on the Mitsubishi's, get back into my cars. But it has been fun. So we're gonna get the exhaust back on. I got the gaskets for it, which are weirdly hard to find. Can't just get them, have to order them. I saw something that C2, which I'm guessing is Corvette, gaskets might work for the exhaust manifold, but I could not confirm that. But I'm gonna get the engine mounts on first because they have to go on before the manifold. So I'm gonna get my favorite blue Loctite, get those torqued down, and then get the exhaust manifold back on. And then from there we can set up and start working on get the engine back in. We'll have to take off the center brace again and probably mount the engine to the brace and then lift the car and move it in with the jack possibly. But we'll look into that when Tanner gets here. The passenger side engine mount on the exhaust manifold side, it says for the actual mount bushing will be 17 foot-pounds, and then up here for these bolts we have 34 foot-pounds. And of course, blue Loctite, my favorite. Well, got the exhaust on, got these all torqued down to 17 foot-pounds. Looks nice with all that nice shiny new hardware on there, as it always does. Now it's the process of actually getting it back in and figuring out how that's going to work now. Hopefully easy it will go. So what do you think, over or under?
Whatever's easiest, man.
I don't know that I can answer that question.
You know what? You should be.
You would think I would, yes.
Should I take those bags off?
Yeah, well, yeah, because we'll probably have to flip them over the engine depending on how we put it in. Probably easier if they're loose. So as you can see, we have skipped ahead a bit and the engine's in the car, everything is close to on, but we are now removing everything, including the intake, because as I found out, this is what was missing from underneath the intake. So there's really no easy way to get that off. Well, get that on without taking the intake and everything back off. So we are begrudgingly now working on that. How do you feel, Tanner?
No.
You don't like going backwards?
No.
You gotta look at the bright side though. We know where all the vacuum lines are kind of lining up now.
No.
Yes. So maybe if we're lucky, it might start tonight. Maybe.
Lucky. We gon' make it start.
Yeah, we'll see. He's got more.
We gonna make it start.
He's got way more optimism than I do. But I haven't had a lot of good luck in high expectations in my life with all my projects though.
Okay, it could start tomorrow morning at, you know, about 3 a.m.
3 a.m. I better be in bed before that. I might have somewhere to go in the morning.
You gotta know where to go.
Uh-huh. I may be looking at someone else's Mitsubishi for them tomorrow. Though I kind of already know the outcome possibly on that one. That's where we're at. No time like the present. Onward, just get it done. Get to it. So we're trying to get the intake off, and all the other bolts came out just fine, but this last one on the end, well, they just would not loosen, and well, finally the head just busted on it. But at least the others will come out now. I used anti-seize on them before torquing them to the 15 foot-pounds that they're supposed to be. So I'm not sure why that last one just decided to hold on.
Maybe we forgot to put antifreeze or anti-seize on one, so.
I was pretty sure I put them on all of them, but
I was pretty sure we put them on all of them too, but.
I could always be wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So hopefully it'll have enough bite with the vice grip now when we take the manifold off to actually get it out. Mostly back together. Tanner is working on the exhaust gaskets right now, and then he's just got to finish up the starter. And then of course we'll need to put in fluids, oil, water, the usual, and then see if it'll do anything. I think the throttle cable may need some adjustment. It looks really loose. Need to throw the battery back in there too. But at least it looks like a full car again. Alright, so he's going to start it up. So it's been running rough since we got everything back together. And I couldn't figure it out, so I decided to go with the old trick of finding vacuum leaks with just some carb cleaner. What we realized is every time you spray a runner, the idle changes. So right here. And what we just realized is we don't think we torqued down the intake the second time we had to take it off. So we'll do that and see if it helps our situation. So always make sure you torque everything down correctly. Hopefully it will run better after this. We replaced the O2. It had been ripped out. The old one's wire had been ripped out probably during uninstallation or just when we dropped the exhaust. But yeah, usually there's a single wire that goes into these on the old 94s. And then the newer 94s have a 3-wire O2 sensor. Is it tightening?
Yeah, it's tightening.
Okay.
You just don't want to let go.
Yeah. So we'll get that tightened down and we'll see how this goes. It is another morning. Tanner is with us once again. We did get the engine started last time. Today we're trying to get the thermo switch for the fan. We're kind of, in a way, forcing a sensor into the spot of the newer sensor since we don't have the connector for it. And I'll show that once we get it out. But the engine runs pretty good, but since the fans aren't turning themselves on because the sensor is not hooked up, we don't have the correct one in there right now. It just overheats after a while.
Like real quick.
Yeah.
Oh!
Not too quick, but
I just poured oil all over your floor.
of course you did.
I tripped.
Oh.
Not bad.
As if you haven't put enough dark spots on my floor already.
It's not good to use.
Well, it's not, I wouldn't say good to use, but you can use it, yes.
Okay.
Well, what towel would you like me to use?
No, you use that towel.
Well, you know what? When you make comments like that,
So that's where we're gonna start. I think we probably maybe take off the intake again.
What?
Maybe take this off, just get those upper hoses.
That intake. I was like, what?
No, not that intake. I took that off twice already.
no, not again.
The reason it was running bad was not because the intake was not torqued down, but one of the gaskets had not managed to.
As a dummy.
Yeah, he did not get the gasket fully on there, so it was blown out. So we got that fixed, and then it drove pretty good. I sprayed around all the vacuum sources, and I still can't find anything else that seems to be leaking. So hopefully that's the only issues left to deal with. And he can drive it out of here today, and I can get the Mitsubishi back in the garage. We'll get started on that.
Hateful.
Yeah.
Hates my car.
No, I'll like it more once it's running, but I'm just not. I wasn't a fan of this engine. All right, we got the radiator. This is what we're dealing with. This is the thermo fan switch. It tells the fans to turn off and on depending on the pressure. It's really just a thermometer. I think once it expands and makes contact with one end, then it closes the electrical loop, and that's what sends signal to the fans to turn on. So as you can see, it's a 3-prong connector, which this model did not have. The later model did. I'll lose it. And the later model was a 2-prong.
Earlier model?
I think yours was an 84 and this was the 85, right?
86, 84.
Yeah, okay.
Even though the car I have is an 85, there's an 86 radiator in it, and I had to find that out from AutoZone.
But yeah, his harness uses just a 2-spade setup, and I don't think it matters which one it goes on. It just closes the electrical loop. But it's got to fit in there, so hopefully, kind of have to rig it in there somehow. Yeah. We just use this to clean up the threads. Focus. Which is just a Dodge oil pan plug. But yeah, I cleaned up the threads pretty good. And this just went right in. It's cool. Now we'll have fans and it will not overheat itself. It's a good day. Alright, so thermo switch is in, so hopefully our fans will work. We had a wire, the oil cinder wire was touching the exhaust manifold and just burning off, which wasn't great. But I got that zip tied out of the way, and then he also got the throttle cable nice and taut. It's hopefully not too tight. It doesn't.
Mainly you.
What?
Throttle cable. I just turned the one.
Well, you adjusted it. That's you adjusting it.
You did the rest.
It was you adjusting it. Either way. But yeah, it's pretty sensitive, so we'll see if that doesn't need loosening. But here we go. That may have been the AC though. So yeah, it sounds a lot better since we fixed the gasket. Doesn't sound like it's running on 3 cylinders anymore. You go drive it. How's the throttle feel?
A lot freaking better.
That's good. Well, I say go heat her up, see how she feels.
Go for it?
Yeah, go heat it up.
No, I'm saying, you want to go?
No, I'll wait here. That way you can call me if anything goes wrong. Oh yeah, there might be a board in the way.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm not sure if that's a belt or maybe the fan bearing.